So it's been 52 days, or nearly 2 months, since I first got my hands on Samsung's Galaxy A52 5G, one of Samsung's latest value and feature-packed phones. In this video, I want to talk to you about some of the new experiences I've had with the A52 in the past 2 months, and share some insights on whether or not I can personally recommend this phone to you, or someone you know who may be considering buying one. Let's get started. Starting with what makes the Samsung A series phones such a worthy consideration in the first place: price. At the time of release, the Samsung Galaxy A52 5G, which currently comes in this black color here and is packed with 128 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM, is around $500. But at the time of this video's release, Samsung has lowered the price to $400, which is honestly an amazing value for what you're getting here. If you want to check out this deal or check the latest pricing whenever you may be watching this video, then feel free to check out the first link in the description below. In exchange for that price, you're getting a 6.5-inch 1080p AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate for smooth scrolling and navigating, a large 4500 mAh battery to power all of that screen, an all-new design for the A series phone, which I think looks a lot like Samsung's higher-end phones, and a lot of other little things you will definitely appreciate, like the headphone jack on the bottom, a dual speaker setup for great audio while watching YouTube or listening to music, and a certified water resistance rating so you don't have to worry about getting caught in the rain or just getting your phone wet in general. And in my daily general use over the past 52 days, I've also been very happy with the Snapdragon 750G processor that powers this A52. All the apps I use and games I play run well and are able to take full advantage of the high refresh rate screen. It is a really nice change of pace to see such good performance and such a responsive display on one of Samsung's more affordable phones. But then you may be asking yourself, what's the catch? What's missing on this more affordable Galaxy A52 to get it down to its lower price? The biggest compromise made on this phone are the build materials. The feel of this phone itself is fine in the hand. It's actually been pretty enjoyable in my everyday use, and I am personally a big fan of the plastic back used here, as it has a nice matte feel to it and should prove to be pretty durable over time. But my problems with the build materials come into play with the plastic frame and the screen. It thankfully hasn't happened to me yet with this A52, but a single drop on the wrong surface of these plastic framed A series phones can result in a sizable scratch or dent. But what's even more shocking to me is that after simply wiping off some water off of my A52's screen on my athletic shorts a few days ago, resulted in several big scratches across the upper corner of my display. So with all that said, I think the inside of the A52 is definitely built to last with its good specs and software, but the outside will definitely need to be carefully watched over and taken care of in order for it to last. My personal recommendation is to keep on the included screen protector that comes with this phone out of the box, and to either use the included case or some other case out there to make sure it stays protected. And while it's on my mind, here's a quick look of that case that comes in the box. It has all of your essential cutouts and feels very grippy in the hand. And in the box alongside the phone, you will also find a 15-watt fast charger, a USB Type-A to Type-C charging cable, and a SIM ejection tool, which gives you access to the SIM tray on the top of the phone, which has room for either 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card and a micro SD card for additional storage. And again, it's these little things that add up to make what I think is a really compelling purchase here in the A52. I've already mentioned the headphone jack and the micro SD card slot, but this phone also has a really small hole punch camera cutout at the top, which hasn't been intrusive at all in my daily use. And I really like the rounded bezels on this phone as well. The combination of a flat display and rounded bezels means there is next to zero chance of accidental touches when interacting with this phone. Another feature of this phone I really appreciate is the 25-watt super fast charging capability. It's unfortunate that only the 15-watt charger is included included in the box, but fortunately most of the newer chargers currently on the market can support Samsung's faster charging speeds, like this RAV power brick I have here. This A52 can juice up to 53% in 30 minutes time, and in a little over an hour you're getting back to a full charge. But how long will a full charge last you? Overall, I think the A52 has acceptable battery life. It will certainly last you a full day with whatever you are doing with the phone, but I think a 2-day battery life is out of the question here. It still really depends on what you're doing with the phone. For example, almost 3 hours of watching YouTube takes the same amount of battery as nearly an hour of playing Call of Duty Mobile. But overall, there are days when I've gotten around 6 hours of screen on time, which again, I think is certainly acceptable considering the 120Hz refresh rate, 1080p screen resolution, and those AMOLED visuals. And the last area of this A52 I also rate as acceptable are the cameras. Again, I think it honestly depends on what you plan to do with the cameras, because taking pictures and photos from the A52 look good. The selfie camera is good in my testing, and on the rear you have a ton of zoom options to choose from, whether that's the ultra wide, the standard wide angle lens, the 2x optical zoom, and you can digitally zoom up to 10 times. But you have to keep in mind with your picture taking that the level of saturation seems to change depending on what lens you are using. As you can see here, the ultra wide seems to give really saturated results compared to the standard lens, which definitely gives a more realistic color presentation. The depth sensor also does a great job of focusing on your subject while putting a nice blur on the rest of the photo, and the macro lens is really fun to use for those super close-up shots. But the video side of things is where I'm docking a few points from the A52 cameras because they just don't cut it for my personal use case. You are able to film up to 4K, but it's capped at 30 frames. The only 60 frames option is at 1080p 60, which is what I personally use for my filming, but all of the camera features go out the door at this setting, like the super steady image stabilization, and more importantly, all of those zoom options. If you're filming stills like this one here at 1080p 60 resolution, then maybe you'll be fine. The microphones also sound pretty good, but if you're doing any kind of movement, action shots, or vlogging, then things get a lot less versatile and a lot more shaky. The front-facing camera is also capable of shooting 1080p 60. There isn't any sort of image stabilization or anything, but this is what you can expect out of the front-facing camera on the Galaxy A52 5G. Also, for whatever reason, in the resolutions which you can use the zoom options, transitions from the wide angle to the standard lens will cut in and out immediately, which doesn't look good at all in the middle of filming, but then transitions from the standard to the 2x zoom look nice and smooth. And again, depending on your settings and what lenses are being used, your amount of saturation can vary a lot. Like this 1080p 30 video without the super steady stabilization turned on, and then the grass really blows up with that super steady turned on in the same 1080p 30 video setting. So for me overall, photos are a yes and videos are a no. But with all those things said, my final verdict of the Galaxy A52 5G is this. If you're looking for a more affordable smartphone that packs a lot of newer features like 5G connectivity, a certified water resistance rating, a fast refresh rate screen, faster performance, faster charging speeds, and a larger battery to power all of it, in addition to keeping vital features of a phone which seem to be leaving the higher end phones like a headphone jack and a micro SD card slot, then this is without a doubt one of the best options out there to consider as your next smartphone. As long as you are okay with making sure this phone is used with a case and a screen protector for the reasons I mentioned earlier in the video. But all things considered, 52 days later, I have thoroughly enjoyed using the Samsung Galaxy A52 5G, and I can highly recommend it to you or a loved one. What are your thoughts though on the Galaxy A52? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to the Shane Symonds YouTube channel today. I hope to see you guys around for the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.